Most Cameron County employees will get a 5% raise this year, but not jailers. They're getting a 10% boost. That's according to the county judge. Today, commissioners approved their 2024 budget. It is nearly $210 million. It's a $19 million increase over last year's budget. As we have reported, the sheriff has been very vocal about his struggle to attract and retain jailers based on pay. The county judge says the sheriff will now have 20 more jobs to fill.
We funded additional jailer positions for the upcoming year. We're hopeful that they'll be able to fill those based upon the fact that we've increased the salary by 10% year over year.
Commissioners also approved a pay raise for longtime county employees and a bump in minimum wage. It's going to go from $11 to $13. The county judge says all that extra money is coming from a spike in property taxes. The raises start next month.
SpaceX is ready for liftoff. New Texas laws. Impeach the son of a gun. And here's your raised peasants. It is Wednesday, 7:08 a.m. This is Good Morning Brownsville, and my name is Frankie Olivo. Now, again, September showers. I wish I had better news for you, but we live in South Texas. Unfortunately, the weather is not everything we would hope for. And again, for our award-winning segment, and now it's time for the weather. South Texas, again, looking at very, very hot temperatures. The city of Brownsville today will be looking at a cool 97 degrees. Harlingen, 99. The Upper Valley will have some isolated showers. South Padre Island will be at a cool 87 degrees. Throughout the weekend, low percentage chances of rain. Again, it is going to be in the triple digits. But again, that's what we're used to, unfortunately. Hot weather. We are supposedly set for a hurricane, but again, let's you know how those meteorologists are. They tell us one thing, and it is totally the opposite. So if you have a chance, don't go outside. And if you are outside, make sure you stay hydrated as much as possible. In space news, in SpaceX news, I think you and I can agree that the individuals already have their minds set up in regards to SpaceX. Some see it as a good thing. We spoke previously on Friday on the health concerns that the FAA has in regards to species, the environment, but more importantly, us humans. It is stated that based on the blast, on the explosion, that debris was scattered for miles, and that this could eventually have an impact on our health. But we have seen the community be enamored with this notion that the world's richest man is here in our backyard. I was there when the first liftoff on 420, the first ever rocket launch from South Texas. And I have to admit, it was something, a phenomenon. There was people that traveled from all over the world to witness this historic event. Starbase has also been the hub for space exploration. People come and take pictures of this destination. And the crazy thing is that, it is in our own backyard. But again, ever since that liftoff, that blast, many environmentalists, many people against the notion that SpaceX, what it brings, will not welcome this news. Yesterday, Elon Musk did post that the Starship is ready to launch, and it is only waiting for FAA license approval. Many insiders, and if you aren't And if you aren't a member of the page, the SpaceX page, the Boca Chica SpaceX page on Facebook, I encourage you to join. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on in regards to this discussion, but it's good. Again, and here at Good Morning Brownsville, we try our best to provide you with all the latest SpaceX news, Elon Musk, because at the end of the day, whether you're for or against this entity, they are in the city of Brownsville. They are in our own backyard. But according to Elon Musk, SpaceX is set to be to launch. Many insiders, according to those on this Facebook page, estimate and state that February 13th will be the launch day for the second launch. What changes have been made? Do we expect for the debris not to fall more than a mile? Because according to the FFA, that's what occurred this past time on this explosion. Again, we are affecting our local species. We are affecting the local wildlife. But it seems as if everyone's okay with that. But it's mainly the outsiders that are, yes, we need space exploration. Whatever we're doing to the Earth, that could wait. But according to Elon Musk, SpaceX is ready and waiting for FFA to give the clearance for their second launch. Now, September 1st did go into effect, and new Texas laws went through. The ones that stood out to me, and there were several. The main one that we all heard about was this $18 billion tax exemption on the homesteads. But these are the laws that you probably haven't heard of just yet. SB 12 protects kids from drag shows. SB 14, it bans child gender modifications, saving women's sports, eliminating the tenure at colleges, protecting elections from fraud, securing school safety of our border, supporting rural law enforcement, supporting mental health care, banning local COVID mandates, increasing school safety, removing explicit material from school libraries, Texas Pregnancy and Parenting Network, and felony for illegal voting. Now, the ones that stood out, obviously, to me were protecting kids from drag shows, banning child gender modification, which it's hard to even think of parents encouraging this, allowing their children to go through these drastic changes, and also removing explicit material from school. When I went to school, the books that we had talked about drugs. They talked about substance abuse. They talked about, I remember reading a book about a young girl who experienced heroin and how her life unraveled. She was a young teenager who got hooked, and was something that she struggled with. Nowadays, we have heard from concerned parents that have been vocal and have voiced their opinions in their local school board meetings in regards to these books that are in the libraries. Here we have one that is titled "It's Perfectly Normal: Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, and Sexual Health." We have explicit material that is located in these books. Now, the question remains. I think we can all agree that sex education is important. You know, we want our youth to be aware of the consequences of having sex, of having unprotected sex, the ramifications, STDs, different viruses that can come. But are you okay with the school teaching your children about gender modification, about sex? Or is that the role of the household? Well, now Texas state law prevents schools from having this type of material. Now, in regards to drag queens, we have nothing against drag queens, but we have seen some rallies, some videos that have gone viral, and what we have seen has been people twerking, being in leather, a little bit more provocative than one should dress, especially in the presence of children. Again, if this is something that the parents are okay with, well, maybe they should teach them at their home, but out in public, many parents have been outraged for it. So where do you lie with these Texas laws that have just passed? Again, the main one that we all heard about has been the Home Exemption Act, the $18 billion. But now starting September 1st, there will not be any explicit material in library books, which we can all agree that school and education should not include explicit material. I am in favor of sex education. It is important for our youth to know the consequences of viruses, of STDs. But when it comes to showing them pornographic images or pornographic-like images, that is probably where it crosses the line. Yesterday, if you aren't following Frankie Olivo, the page, make sure you do so. Make sure you send stars. I'm constantly telling my friends, send me stars, guys. Yesterday we did see something historical, something that has not happened in over 100 years in the state of Texas. We are witnessing the impeachment trial of the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton. The interesting thing and how it pertains particularly to the city of Brownsville, because again, we always try to provide you with the latest news of what is going on in the world, in the state of Texas, and how that affects us here in the city of Brownsville. Ken Paxton has been one that has been smeared in controversy for ever since he's been in office. And what we heard throughout the opening statements and at the initial trial as it started was that he has used his office to enrich himself. He has used the position of the Attorney General to weaponize and use it for his advantage or that of his friends. We have heard how he has mismanaged taxpayer money. There are allegations that he has paid off mistresses, that he has bought them lucrative things, that he has traveled with them to Vegas. According to the defense attorneys, of course, this is all a lie. And one very important thing that we should follow is that we have our very own representatives that are taking part in this impeachment trial. Here on the far left, we have District 38 State Representative Erin Gomez. She, along with Oscar Longoria, who represents San Benito, and our Texas State Senator Morgan Lamantilla, are taking part in this impeachment trial. Representative Erin Gomez is part of the manager. She is overseeing the prosecutional side of this trial while presenting the case before the House floor. And Morgan Lamantilla, our senator, she will be voting. She will be voting whether to impeach the Attorney General. The interesting thing that we saw from opening statements was how the defense counsels are saying that this is all a witch hunt, that in the state of Texas, there are 32 residents, And out of those 32 residents, 4 million of them voted for Ken Paxton. And that this was not democratic in this impeachment process because 30 individuals out of the 4 million that voted for him will ultimately decide his fate. Again, everything that I read, everything that I come across, I always try to relate it to Brownsville. Whenever I heard about mismanagement of money, of weaponizing their position, of taking advantage of taxpayer dollars, it kind of rung a bell with the city of Brownsville. Again, us citizens of Brownsville, it seems as if we don't just want corruption, we demand it, because year in and year out, election cycle by election cycle, we have heard and have seen how individuals have used their power, unfortunately, for their advantage. They have been entrusted with a position by the voters, and what we have seen has been that they have used it for their own benefit. Today will be the continuation of the trial. Good Morning Brownsville will be airing it live once we are available this morning. That way you can take part and listen in to this historical occasion, because again, this hasn't taken place in 100 years, and for an elected official to be impeached, much less one of the top law enforcement agent in the state of Texas, the Attorney General, to be part of this process is very historical. So again, today will be day 2 of the impeachment trial of Ken Paxton. Make sure you tune in to Good Morning Brownsville. We will be sure to give you all the latest juice in regards to this story. And now for our feature story. Here's your raised peasants. When I think of an elected official, and again, this is probably just me, but when I think of an elected official, I think of a waiter. Whenever we go to a restaurant, we have a waiter, we have service, we have somebody that is trying to make our stay, our time pleasant. We have somebody, what do you need? I'm here at your beck and call. Let me know. I am here at your service. Whenever I think of elected officials, I think of individuals that are here to look after our interests. Unfortunately for South Texas, we have had individuals that instead of having the hands like this here, you, we have elected officials that have their hands like this, me. In South Texas, in the city of Brownsville, in Cameron County, it is no different. We did get word that Cameron County did approve $210 million in their annual budget, which is $19 million more than what they previously had last year. One thing that that arose from this approval of the budget was raises. Now, as a former county employee, I can tell you that the county employees are great individuals. They work hard. There's a saying that goes, if we were to pay you for what you were worth, we would not be able to afford you. And that is a sentiment that I have from a former county employee. Our county employees don't get paid much. Compared to Hidalgo County and upper counties in Texas, we are one of the lowest paid salary-wise. We could also compare that to the elected officials. Last week we had the Cameron County elected officials vote and give themselves a $6,000 raise. Now, it wasn't the commissioners per se. It was other department heads and other elected officials that did receive this pay raise. But nonetheless, we have heard for the past 2-3 years of how elected officials have given themselves raises. But again, is public office, should it be one to find enrichment? I see elected officials as being servers. They are here to serve the community. They aren't here to get rich. If they knew what the salary was, why are they seeking more while they're in office? And what really troubled me and what really bothered me, not really bothered me, but what really caused me to raise an eyebrow was the following. Commissioners also approve a pay raise from long-time county employees and a bump in minimum wage from $11 to $13. The raises start next month. Now, it's sad. It's sad whenever we have McDonald's. And again, you know, McDonald's is a worldwide, I would even compare it to an entity. It is a machine. But McDonald's, if you go now, I think their starting salary is $13, $15, depending on what position you get, of course. But it has been a lot more competitive as of late. And as we all know, Texas has a minimum wage of $7.25. But when you look at this, longtime county employees saw a bump in their minimum wage from $11 to $12. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. I'm finally going to get out of this poverty. Haven't you noticed how these county employees have given themselves $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 raises while the county employees just get little sprinkles? Now, instead of the head honchos giving themselves raises, wouldn't it be better for those on the bottom of the totem pole to receive a significant raise? We titled our feature story, "Here's Your Raise, Peasants," because that's the way it feels. First, it's us, the elected officials. Let me give myself a $5,000 raise during COVID. Let me give myself a $6,000 raise this past time. Oh, but when it comes to the county employees, oh, you get 2%. You get a sprinkle, las migajas, the leftovers. Hey, don't complain. You got a raise. Remember to vote for me. And one department that has been severely affected by this has been our Cameron County Sheriff's Department. Our current sheriff, Eric Garza, ever since he took office, has been battling back and forth for trying to obtain competitive wages. We have our jailers at one point. I think now they are closer. I want to say closer after this $10,000 raise or 10% raise. I'm sorry. They were making, I think, 28, 27, 29 for a jailer. Now, I want you to close your eyes and try to visualize this. You're a jailer with one of the most ruthless individuals in South Texas, in Cameron County. You have murderers, you have rapists, you have people who suffer from mental health. There is a possibility that you might get feces thrown on you, that urine in a bottle might be thrown at you. There are fights that break out. Again, you have one of the hardest, and we live on the border, and the cartel is alive and well, especially in Brownsville and especially in Carrizales. Now, can you imagine an individual having to deal with that day in and day out for $29,000? Hell no. I wouldn't even do it for freaking 40 grand. But if they make 29,000, a 10% increase, that's like 3 grand. That's nothing. Why don't our elected officials do what's in the best interest of the county? Again, when I have an idea of a public servant, I have a waiter, Somebody that's, hey, what do you need? What do you need? I'm here at your disposal. I'm here at your beck and call. Instead of having their hands like this to give the county, our elected officials have their hands like this. First, it's us. We'll get our $5,000 raise. We'll get our $6,000 raise. And then it's y'all peasants. Here's your raise, peasants. And let us not forget, during COVID, these individuals did propose. And of course, this didn't pass. But you can see the disrespect that we have here. At one time, it was proposed for our county judge to make $120,000, an increase of close to $50,000. The increase, the proposed increase at one time, and let me be clear, at one time, it didn't pass, at one time, was for the Cameron County Commissioners to make $75,000, an increase of $32,000. Again, why do people run for public office? Is it because they want to improve the quality of life for you and I? Or is it just maybe they're after that almighty dollar? If they don't like what the job pays, maybe they should go out in the private sector. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, running a business is difficult. Waking up, not knowing if you're going to make it or not, is tough. I have spoken with entrepreneurs, business owners that have said, you know what? I don't have enough money to feed my family. I don't have enough money to pay for the light. I don't know if next month I'm going to be in business or not. But here we have our county employees in one of the poorest areas of our nation giving themselves raises. Are you okay with this? Now, they could say, you know what? Well, we gave them raises and we're giving the jailers a 10% increase. Well, many people have said, Frankie, the only reason why they're doing this is because they're going to work against Sheriff Garza to get their selected the person that they want to be the sheriff. That way, when the new one comes in, if he dethrones and beats our current sheriff, he'll have the resources available to run that department the way it should. Again, South Texas has been known for, let me find ways to benefit myself as a political, and then I'll figure out ways to distribute the pie. Again, it's the almighty dollar. Are we satisfied with our local representation of them getting the piece of the pie first? And this is the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. If you don't believe me, look what's going on at GBEC. Look what's all these grants are going. Haven't you noticed that it's only a select few that reap the benefits of this? It's all about the almighty dollar, unfortunately. Instead of our elected officials doing everything possible to make sure that they're serving us, that they're serving the county employees, that is not the case. This is what they're after. And look at this picture that I have on the screen. These are our county employees. Se están saciando. They can't have enough. Gluttony. Oh, let me eat. What are you looking at? We deserve these raises. And look at the county employees. Nothing on their plate. Here is your raise, peasants. Make sure you remember us come election time. And that's the rest of the story. SpaceX did announce that they're ready for liftoff. Many insiders, and if you haven't followed the page, make sure you follow Boca Chica SpaceX or the SpaceX page in general. You will find awesome pictures, awesome insight. Many insiders guesstimate, because again, we don't know when the FAA will give the thumbs up for the second launch. Many insiders guesstimate that it will be September 13. New Texas law did go into effect September 1st. There will be no more drag shows around children. There will be no more explicit material in libraries. Many outraged parents did confront school boards throughout Texas and throughout the U.S. That there were many pornographic images and stories and that spoke about gender modification, sex, and other delicate things that one would expect for the household to take part in these very serious discussions. Impeach the son of a gun. Today marks day 2 of the impeachment trial of our attorney general. What we have heard from opening statements was that the attorney general did mismanage taxpayer money, that he used his position to enrich himself. And I thought throughout the trial, God dang it, that sounds a lot like the city of Brownsville. Haven't we heard of mismanagement of over $750,000 for some space taxis and things like that? Haven't we heard our mayor, who he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar when he tried to get $200,000 grants on an LLC that was created 3 months from the time of his application, 2 months from the time of his application? Day 2 of the impeachment trial. Impeach the son of a gun. We will be broadcasting his trial live. And for our feature story, here's your raise, peasants. We saw how Cameron County Commissioner's Court did grant themselves, since COVID, close to $10,000 in raises, while the county employees get a measly 2% increase, which after taxes, they'll be lucky if they get 10, 12 bucks out of that. But that's the rest of the story. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Make sure you tune in on Friday, 7:05 a.m. Good morning, Brownsville. My name is Frankie Olivo. Ciao.